Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest online event here at the University of California, Merced. My name is Ricky Hill, and I am the e-recruiter here at UC Merced. A huge welcome to you tonight for the next of the upcoming Become a Bobcat virtual series webinars. We are so excited to have you here once again with us this evening. Before we get started, let me go ahead and just give you a couple of quick tips. If you would like to adjust your audio settings, you can do so in the lower left corner of your screen by clicking the audio settings button. If you need to adjust the size of your window, click on view options in the upper portion of your screen. Lastly, and most importantly, we would love to get to your questions tonight, so please use the Q&A button at the lower portion of your screen. Go ahead and send us those questions. We will get to those both behind the scenes as well as in a live question and answer session at the end of our program. As I said, this is part of a larger series called Become a Bobcat, a virtual series. And we do have other webinars that have been taking place over the last couple of months. We will drop that website for you in the chat in case you've missed some of those. You can go back and watch the instant replay. This event tonight is also being recorded, so this will be available in just a couple of days in case you would like to go back later and watch it again. On your screen, you do see our great logo there for Become a Bobcat, a virtual series. We do have one more event coming up later this week, so make sure that you do get registered for that one as well. It's about student involvement. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this presentation tonight that's about living on campus. At this time, I'd like to hand things over to my colleague, Scott.
Thanks, Ricky, and welcome everyone to tonight's session. I'm glad to have the opportunity to speak with you a little bit about life on campus, along with some of my colleagues. So we're going to talk about life on campus in a couple different parts. And when it comes to student housing, which is my my area of expertise, I'm one of the associate directors in housing services. And I'm going to talk about first our community and some of the unique parts about our community, because ultimately that's what we think. That's where we spend a lot of our time and energy on working on our academic community and living on campus. But then we're also going to talk a little bit about the mechanics of applying for housing and how you can make the transition into university housing at UC Merced. So we are excited to welcome students back to full occupancy housing for fall 2022. We went through this last year. We also were pretty full this last year. As we look forward to the next year, we're looking at a year where we can really get back to doing a lot of the work that we did to promote and build community in the residence halls that we really missed over the last few years. One of the things that helps us in that process, the physical communities that you're living in are some of the newest in the country. We've been opening buildings and residence halls and adding beds recently. Two of our newest buildings, El Portal and Sentinel Rock, just went through their first year of full occupancy. And we're excited that we have these facilities available to support you. So as you're looking at different universities, certainly our facilities are new. But one of the things that I like to talk about and remind folks is it's not just the buildings that matter. A big part of what distinguishes, you can have a great room or a great building and new shiny things, but without people, the community doesn't take shape. And one of our best resources that we have at UC Merced are our residence education staff. This is our frontline staff are the resident advisors, the RAs, and our residence education coordinators. These two groups of people work together. The RAs are students who live and on the floors will live with you. Each of you will have an RA, and that student leader has gone through a rigorous selection process, and they arrive in late July to go through rigorous training to help them be a good resource for you. They're already experienced and knowledgeable about life on campus, and one of their principal roles is to welcome you and help you make that transition from the community that you're leaving behind into the community that you're choosing to join if you come to UC Merced. Those students are some of our best on campus, and they really go out of their way to make you not only feel welcome, but to help connect you and help you navigate the resources that the university has to offer. That team is supervised by residence education coordinators, RECs. They also live on campus. They live in the residence halls that they supervise, and they help supervise the RAs. Those are professional staff members Most have master's degrees, and they work and they advise the RAs and they supervise the RAs, but they're also available to you. They serve, these two teams serve in an on-call rotation. So if there are issues, there's always two layers, right? So there's always the RA who's available to help out 24/7. There's an RA on call, or your RA, and then there's always an RAC that's available. That RAC is always backed up by a professional staff member like myself. So when you come to campus, even though you're leaving a community you know and coming into a new community to pursue your academic interests, we do a lot to help manage the transition and to provide support while you make that transition. We offer our residence education staff also runs our front desk, which is like one of the hearts of our campus living experience. That's where you'll get your mail. We do regularly tens of thousands of pieces of mail every month. Through that system, you can get all your packages and books delivered to you, just like you would if you were living anywhere else. Our office assistants, along with our resident RAs and RACs, not only help manage these day-to-day logistics, but they really get invested in helping you meet other people and starting to build those relationships that are going to help distinguish and really infuse your first year at UC Merced with the vibrancy to complement the academic rigor in the classroom. Along that lines, we also offer some dedicated programs, and I'd encourage you to take a look at these and check these out on our website. We have living and learning communities. These are dedicated cohorts of students who there's a couple of different topic areas, which we'll show here a little bit later, but these create intentional partnerships between academic areas of study and interest and students that are living together on campus. So when you apply to a living and learning community, if you're accepted, and they are competitive, we'll talk about that process, but if you're accepted to the living and learning community, then if you're placed there, you'll be living with students who also share an interest. Maybe it's in a major area like pre-med or health, public health, or it could be in an area like service, like community service. These help create additional opportunities, not just for projects and service, but to create relationships that go beyond just people you live with in the residence hall, but to include teaching assistants, graduate assistants, professionals, faculty and staff, people who might be living the current, future stage of interest for you. So they can bring that lived experience, that career experience into to you at the beginning of your academic journey to help you get set up for success. Some of our, LLCs have been very successful, and the students who participate in them really, I've talked a lot about the relationships, and that's ultimately what we stay focused on with the LLCs. There are a lot of good academic opportunities that come with that, and opportunities to explore both in and out of the classroom. But the personal growth that comes from getting to know people who have different experiences, but who share a common interest, along with the building those out of classroom relationships with faculty and staff, are really some of the top reasons that our students have cited as reasons they've enjoyed participating in living and learning communities. If you participate in a living and learning community, some offer common courses that you'll sign up for outside of the LLC. So there are some that have an additional course, and if you can read about those on our website, and they'll also talk to you about that and give you instructions on how to sign up for those courses. There are others that don't require that as well, but essentially you'll each be working together on a couple of different areas. So there's usually common, so participation usually sometimes involves the course, but it also sometimes involves participation in weekly, monthly or bi-weekly learning events. So there could be programs that are going on within the community. Sometimes these are outside speakers, like faculty who may come and talk about an interest area. Sometimes these are social and networking events that are put together by the LLC staff and the RAs. But both of these, but the LLCs are defined by this planned curriculum of activities that help supplement your academic experience. So each LLC does, in addition to having these opportunities for networking and for learning, also, to really to participate in that, there's a set of expectations for those, and each LLC will communicate those to its participants in the fall. This is an overview of our living and learning communities on our website for housing.ucmerced.edu. There's a whole list, there's a whole tab dedicated to living and learning communities with a deep exploration of each of these, like what each of these learning communities are. Our three newest ones this year are for our first, that we're offering for the first time, are professional engineering, public health pathways, and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is a great example of, there are learning communities that are focused on the academic interests. So professional engineering or public health pathways, you don't have to have a particular major. You can be exploring engineering or exploring public health and participate in those LLCs. Entrepreneurship is really just an exploration of the development of business at all levels. And that is open to, really any first year student that has an interest in exploring that topic area. Here's the website. If you want to grab a screenshot or take a picture of this, go find it later. It's also on our website. And if you have questions about living and learning communities, you can direct those to, in general, each of the LLCs does have a contact on that webpage. So if you go to housing.ucmerced.edu/LLC, you'll find the description of each LLC, and there are contacts there that represent the academic side of that LLC. So if you have questions about what it means to participate in there, you can ask them directly, and they provide that contact information. If you have general questions about LLCs, residence education at ucmerced.edu is a great place to start. I'm going to switch a little bit. We've talked about the community building and the academic opportunities and co-curricular opportunities with our living and learning communities. I want to talk a little about the housing services side. Now, this is the side of like, how do you, what is living on campus? How do I make the transition to living on campus? And we're going to talk, I want to mention first that we offer now a 2-year housing guarantee for new students starting their first year, provided you meet the application priority deadlines, which are May 4th to apply and May 9th to sign a contract, then you're guaranteed housing. And so our application is a 2-step process. So there's no requirement to live on campus for any student. So you're not required as a first-year student to live on campus if that's not a good fit for you. That's a change in the past. So if you talk to some folks, maybe went here, 2-3 years ago, there was a 2-year live on requirement, but that is no longer the case. So you're not required to live on, but that does mean that you have to tell us that you want to live on campus. You do that first by submitting a housing application through our housing portal. If you submit on time by 11:59 p.m. on May 4th, we'll turn around and offer you a housing contract, which you'll sign also online through the portal, and that will give you guarantee your housing for that year. And then you're guaranteed housing for the next year. Again, all you have to do is follow the dates and timelines, and you're guaranteed 2 years of housing on campus. We offer a 1 contract, an academic year contract. This covers your housing. You'll move in August, usually between August 18th and 20th is move-in time. And then you'll move out again at the end of May 2023. It does not include winter intercession. So when you leave after winter, you can leave your stuff in your residence hall. You just have to go home, or we offer housing at additional cost during that time. Our rates are posted online. I'd encourage you to check them out. Our rates are driven by the number of folks in the room. So a double room costs the same in every building on campus. There's no price differential if you're placed in the newer side, like El Portal, or over in some of our original buildings in the Valley Terraces. The rates are all the same. It just depends on how many people you share the room with. Okay. We talked a little bit about these. I do want to note that most incoming students are going to be assigned to triple rooms. That's true. Most students living on campus are going to be assigned in triple rooms, continuing sophomore and first year students. 46% of our rooms are triple occupancy. So that's a good number of our occupancy all together. You can see we've got some links here that you can follow that will take you out to our contract page where you can review the contract. And then when you submit your app, when you sign your contract, you'll also choose your meal plan. And we're going to talk a little bit about meal plans later on, but every student's required to have a meal plan that's living on campus. Our facilities on campus don't have very robust kitchens. And so cooking within the residence halls isn't really a good activity. The rooms aren't designed for it. It's not safe. The rooms are safe, but they're not for cooking, right? So we don't want to be using the rooms as a kitchen. And so we ask that folks have a meal plan. The timeline, I talked a little bit before. If you're an incoming first year student, 11:59 by May 4th to submit your application. for priority. And then if you sign the contract online by 11:59 p.m. on May 9th, you are guaranteed housing for fall 2022. If you're a transfer student, that timeline is a little different because your SIR timeline is different. You just need to submit your application by 11:59 p.m. on June 6th, and then sign your contract again by 11:59 p.m. on June 9th. I always recommend, particularly if you're an incoming student looking and you're not really sure, and maybe you're still trying to make up your mind, you can always, once you SIR, you can always submit your housing application and get that turned in, SIR, and turn in your housing application. You can cancel your housing contract until June 1st without any penalty. After June 1st, there's a $300 penalty. So once you SIR, if you're trying to decide what your best living arrangement is going to be, just go ahead and get a housing application turned in, get a contract signed, and then if it doesn't fit for you, you can cancel by June 1st. But we want to make sure that you have housing, and the best way to guarantee that is to follow the priority timeline for incoming first year or incoming transfer students. We will, if you have LLC interests, I strongly recommend that you prioritize you get to prioritize two. So you get to give a first choice and a second choice LLC. You'll submit that with your housing application. You can change that or edit it later on. So maybe you've already done your housing application and you just joined in tonight to get some questions answered. You can go back and you can make changes to that LLC until May, to that LLC selection until May 9th. On May 10th, we hand over the priority request to the LLC team, to the academic side of the house that's working with the LLCs, and they will make decisions about who is getting into the LLCs by the end of June. They pass that information to us, and around the end of June, we also open up our roommate selection tool. That is the tool where you get to choose, if you meet somebody at orientation or you met somebody at Bobcat Day or online, you can tell us who you want to live with, and that's our first priority when we're making assignments, is making sure that you're living with a roommate of your choice. That process will open at the end of June, and then we'll start doing housing assignments in early July, and everyone should have a housing assignment by the end of July. Okay. If you need an accommodation, a housing accommodation refers to any modification that we may need to make to the number of folks in your room or the type of room you're assigned to accommodate a disability. Housing accommodations, we can meet a pretty broad range of them, but you have to get them submitted and documented by May 2nd. That process you can start independent of your housing application. So if you follow our website, we have a page on accommodations. The process is you'll turn that information into Student Accessibility Services. They will review your medical documentation. So please don't send your medical information to us at housing, because not only am I not qualified to read it, but we don't want to have your information here. We want to make sure it goes to the right place. The team at Student Accessibility Services will review your information, and they'll tell us what accommodations we should provide in housing, and we'll work with you to make that happen. As long as you have that process completed for housing by May 2nd, then we can generally meet almost any accommodation for fall 2022. There's some notes here about financial aid. Since living on campus is optional this year, make sure that you examine, like you may have been given some estimates about financial aid. And some of that, you want to make sure you understand how the cost of living affects that. So your aid is based on cost of attendance. Financial aid has a lot of good FAQs on that, and these links will be posted later on and share with you. I'd encourage you to explore that and make sure you understand how your aid is affected by either living on campus or living off campus. And if you have questions about that, contact them early so you can get those resolved. Every student during orientation will get a CAT card. This is your student ID card. This card also functions as your exterior key to your residence hall or living learning community. It's also your meal pass into the dining hall. It really is kind of an all access UC Merced tool to get you around campus. It also helps you ride the Catrax. It can be used to get onto the to the City of Merced transit system as well. And it gives you access to the printing and photocopy service on campus. There is a complimentary app that can be downloaded onto your mobile device that allows you to view a lot of those balances, and in some cases to use your phone as a mobile ID as well. But the card itself is still the principal way which you'll use to get in and out, really to get around campus pretty much everywhere, using the transit systems, using dining halls, getting in and out of the residence halls. Your CAT card is going to be an important part of your first year experience. So as you get communications about CAT card and you look at those opportunities, make sure you follow up on those. And I'm going to pass it to my colleague Kunal, who's going to talk to you about dining services.
Thank you so much, Scott. Thank you, Ricky. Hi, everyone. Kunal Sinha, Director of Dining Services. On behalf of our team, I would like to welcome you to the journey of dining services here at UC Merced. So upon getting your Bobcat card, you will have access to our dining facilities. Next slide, please. Great. Pavilion Dining Center, it allows you to enter for all you care to eat dining meal plan, which allows you to have access to assorted amount of food all throughout the day, different meal services. It gives you options for any special dietary needs or restrictions you have. You're more than welcome to use any guests who are with you to use some of the free guest meal comes in with it. You can do that. If you ran out of that, you can definitely use credit card, debit card, or CAT dollar. Apart from that, we also have Lantern Cafe, which allows you to get some grab and go drinks, which is conveniently located at the library. Same methods of payment is accepted there. We can use CAT dollar, credit card, debit card. Another unit we have right now for snack shop is called Bobcat Snack Shop, which allows you again to use any chips or beverages or cookies or any of those needs you're looking forward, you can definitely go there. Currently, we are also bringing food trucks all across the county around, to give you a variety of options, including, just change from sitting in all you care to eat to go to your own particular choice of food you would like to consume from. Currently, we also have YWDC, which is closed right now, which is we are planning to open for the fall. But as of right now, Pavilion is our biggest and largest building in the campus, allowing us to offer food services. As of right now, we're offering breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Our current website allows you to choose any particular meal would you like to have. It allows you to choose before you make a trip to the dining hall. You can take a look ahead of time what you're looking forward to eat today. For example, today we had Indian food, we had soup and milks and all kind of different stuff which you can plan ahead of time depending upon your choice you're intending to take. It gives you a wholesome amount of balanced diet, starting from salad, soup, water. We also have different kinds of salad, compost salad. I have Chef Matt waiting eagerly to talk about different menu items he has been planning and propose it for you guys. Yeah, we also do different kind of special meals. We call them as a team dinner or team lunch, depending upon the season we are in. So we did St. Patrick's Day, then we celebrated Holi, which is like a festival of color. Then we had National Garlic Day. I mean, so on and on. And definitely all these informations are available on our website. We like to keep our website as a central portal to share information with students as well as parents or anyone who's looking forward to learn more from us. Next slide, please. Definitely, you're more than welcome to connect, go to our website and you guys can look into what exactly we're offering. You can also connect with our dining team. They're always here. They're always looking forward to connect with you all. Apart from Chef Matt, I'll pass on the mic in a second. You can also reach out to our executive chef Mitch. He's always willing to sit down with you and learn more exactly you're intending. Is any particular accommodation can be made? Is any particular dietary restriction you have, or just having conversation with us, is always key for our success and your success. Now I'm gonna pass it on the mic to Chef Matt.
Hello and welcome all you future Bobcats. As Director Kanal said, I am Chef Matt, one of the chefs at the Pavilion. And yes, as mentioned, we did celebrate the Holi Festival, the Festival of Spring. We did have a live drum performance inside, which was pretty awesome to just view, and you can see all the the excitement that arose from just having the live entertainment, coupled with food. What more could you want, right? Some of the things that we do enjoy are celebrating National Food Days. On January 20th, we celebrated, Cheese Lovers Day. We had mac and cheese. The culinary team really get excited because they can get creative and put their touch on the dishes that they create for y'all. April 19th, as Director Canal mentioned, we celebrated National Garlic Day. So we did some garlic fries out of our Rufus Grill platform. We did a roasted garlic and chicken pizza out of our Italian platform. And I have to tell you, the culinary team did an absolutely phenomenal job on both dishes. I was very pleased. Everybody was pleased. Upcoming, we have on May 4th, we are collaborating with ASUCM for a Pavilion Spring Feast for dinner. We have a fantastic meal planned, and we also have a special musical surprise for all our guests. And it's also giving our current students an opportunity to meet newly elected Senate administration on that evening. And that's going to be followed up on May 5th with a Cinco de Mayo lunch menu. The details are still being worked out, but we plan to celebrate in great fashion. Also on May 4th, we're having a ice cream funnel cake fry concoction. It's gonna be really nice to have. We're also doing a lot of things as far as gluten-free varieties. We have gluten-free brownies, sliced breads, hamburger buns on request, gluten-free cookies and pies. And we have a special section when you walk into the pavilion. You're greeted with our Common Grounds platform, and there you're able to find a lot of milk alternatives. We have soy milk, we have oat milk, we have chai tea that you can add any of your milk of choice to. We also bring in pastries from local bakers, pan dulces, sweetbreads. Those all come from a local bakery. Yeah, we're just really excited about what we have going on for the future in dining. And we are proudly moving to an all-natural chicken that's 100% vegetarian fed, raised without antibiotics, humanely treated. So about 80% of our chicken, 85% of our chicken will be halal. And we're just excited about what the future holds for us. And as Director Canal said, we are always available for feedback. Your suggestions go a long way in helping us serve you exactly what you want. So we're always welcome to sit down with you if you have any dietary restrictions or special needs in regards to food. Please don't hesitate to email us, reach out to Director Canal, or Executive Chef Mitch, or myself, and we'd be happy to sit down with you and go over anything that you want to discuss. And I will pass it on to Rosalva in parking and taps.
Good evening. My name is Rosalva Barriga, and I'm the Customer and Financial Services Supervisor for Transportation and Parking Services. Next, please. Parking services for the fall for residents, students. The applications, freshmen are discouraged from bringing their vehicles. However, they can apply for an exception, and those applications are now available on our website. The validity of our permit will be August 22nd through December 16th, and the cost for the fall semester will be $200. Next slide, please. Commuter students. Continuing and new transfer students can purchase their permit August 1st online through the ucmerced.newpark portal, and the cost will be $160, and they will be valid August 22nd through December 16th. We also have the Way to Park mobile app option, and that is a daily parking option. It is an hourly or by the day. Freshman commuter permits, by exception only, those students can apply also. Those applications will be available beginning August 1st, and you can find that application on our website. Next slide, please. Transportation services. We have the Catrax campus shuttle, and all you need to board is your CAT card. Face masks are required pending health guidelines that may change. The shuttle services connect you to medical, grocery stores, retail, Amtrak, downtown, banks, and retail. Next slide, please. Our other partners are Merced the bus. We do have one route UC that does come to campus. And again, you just need your CAT card to board. We also have Amtrak. And then we also do have Advanced Air, which is our airport with connections to Las Vegas and Los Angeles. Next slide, please. Other transit options are, we have a Zip car. We currently have 4 vehicles on campus. You do have to become a member. It's a $15 annual fee. And you can rent these vehicles by the hour, by the day, and the rates do include gas and maintenance and insurance. Next, please. And here is our contact information, website, email, phone number, if you need to reach out to us. Thank you, and I'll pass it back to Ricky.
Thank you so much for that great presentation to everyone here that has been representing our campus for housing, residence life, and dining and transportation. Fantastic information for our audience tonight, especially those folks getting ready to join us here in the fall in just a couple more months and moving to our great and beautiful campus. At this time, we'd like to go ahead and start answering some of those incoming questions. And also just quick reminder, if you do have a question, click on the Q&A button to send that in to us. And also, we have been dropping a ton of links for you into the chat box. So go ahead and take a moment at your leisure, click on some of those so that those browsers will start opening for you so that you can take a look at those a little bit later on once we have wrapped up our presentation. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these questions that are coming in. All right, the first one, does the housing contract automatically assign you to a dorm, or does it just confirm that you're registered for housing?
Great question. So if you have a signed housing contract, you will be assigned to a residence hall room. We don't, except for LLCs, there are a few places where there are guaranteed assignments. So the LLCs for School of Natural Sciences are, this is like Carson House, Beyond the MD, a couple, all the school, I always forget them whenever I have to do them live, but Carson House, Beyond the MD, Aristotle House, and there's one more. They're all in Glacier Point. The 3 new ones, entrepreneurial, public health pathways, and engineering will all be in Granite Pass, along with Afro Hall will be in Granite Pass. So those are the 2 principal buildings for LLCs. The only exception is Leadership and Service, which will be in El Portal. After that, we really assign folks based on space available, and we try to do, we do assignments. It's done by our assignment tool, which takes into account first any roommates that you have created verified roommate groups with. It will then take the room type preference and try to match, like, so if you and your roommate, you get together with 3 roommates and you have a triple room, it will try to put all 3 of you together in a triple room. If it's 2 of you together that request a double, but we don't have any doubles available for first years, I'll probably try to place you in the next available room that was matched by your preference, which would be maybe a triple or a quad. So yeah, you don't get to pick the building.
Very good. Thank you so much for that. And we will go ahead and stick with housing for the next couple of questions, and then we'll see what we might have in some of the other areas. So the next question I'd like to ask, there's a student that has sent in the question that on Bobcat Day, they were mentioned, it was mentioned to them by a dorm RA that incoming freshmen would likely be dormed in the new buildings. Is that correct?
Yes, I mean, most of our housing, and we generally try to place first-year students on South Campus. So in addition to the LLCs and Glacier and Granite, El Portal and Sentinel Rock are predominantly first-year housing. We do also, just based on numbers, it's also pretty likely that some first-year students may get placed in what we call the summits. It's Cathedral, Tenaya, and Half Dome on North Campus, but we would expect a good number of first-year students to be on South Campus.
Perfect. Another housing question. This person wrote in and they have a couple, so I'll go ahead and just list them each separately. The first one, how do I know which dorm I'm going to live in?
That's a great question. So in the timeline, we first do LLC placements. So we'll send, I saw a couple questions about LLCs. When you submit your housing application, you can indicate your LLC preferences. I gather up all those preferences, right? So it would be, 50 or 60 people will preference that they want to be in Aristotle House. There 50 might preference Afro All. And I send all that data to the various program coordinators that work with those LLCs on May 10th. That information they use, and they may reach out to you and ask questions like to help them better understand your interest. So after May 10th, you want to pay close attention to UC Merced email. They may reach out and ask some questions to help them decide. But those programs select the participants for the LLCs. They communicate that information back to me in June, and then usually like mid to late June. And then I'll start placing folks. They'll communicate to you too that you've been accepted to the LLC. But then we will start placing LLCs. We place housing accommodations first, LLCs next, and then we start working through guaranteed housing. So Regent scholars are the folks that have housing guarantees, and then we will take the rest of the students and we place them into buildings after that. Those assignments are typically available and emailed to you by mid-July, so July 15th or so. We try to have those done and posted to your student accounts.
Perfect. And then do we have a website or some way that we can describe to someone what the room layout looks like? I don't know if we have any photos or kind of a layout of that.
Yeah. On our website, on the housing website, you'll find on the very first tab, it's like prospective students. There's housing options is the link, and that has from almost every building, it has a video tour of that room. It also has floor plans for each building, so you can get a sense for where that's at, what each building has to offer.
Thank you so much, Scott. And I went ahead and looked that up while you were describing it, and I dropped that link into the chat box. So anyone that's interested, go ahead and save that and take a look at that in depth a little bit later. All right, let's move over to some transportation questions. Let's see. So we have several questions coming in talking about if you're a first-year student freshman and you have a car, but you're not allowed to park on campus, what do you do with your car?
So freshmen are discouraged from bringing their vehicles. However, they can apply for a parking permit. They would have to meet one of the exceptions, and those exceptions are medical, employment, military, or an extreme circumstance. Like I said, the applications are open now, so I would apply, and we will be sending out award notifications in early May.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. And another transportation question. Does the Catrax shuttle go to Kaiser Permanente that's about 45 minutes from UC Merced?
I don't think Kaiser, is it in Merced? Or
I think if it's 45 minutes away, I think that would be in Modesto.
Okay, then no, we do. Catrax does not go to Modesto. Catrax is just a local service.
Okay, does anyone on the call with us, do we know if maybe our Catrax would connect with the city bus, or if there's a bus system that goes to Modesto? No, this is kind of out of left field. I'm not sure if anyone on will know that answer or not.
It does. We do connect with the city bus, but I am not sure about the city routes.
Okay, thank you so much for that information. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Ricky, I would say you can, if the student wants to check the routes, both regional and city on Merced the Bus, that's a good place to start. That's the mercedthebus.com, as I think is Merced's website for that. And you can check the routes. And I believe they post a lot of routes in the county that connect regionally, which may include the areas that you're seeking.
Perfect. Thank you guys for that. All right, the next question has to do with the statement of intent to register, the SIR. Everyone is getting ready to do if you haven't already. So this question's coming in, and they're saying that they've already done their SIR last week, and that they've been trying to get into the housing portal to go ahead and do their application for housing, and they haven't been able to do that yet. So do we have any advice for them, or have we had any technical issues that maybe we're working through?
Yeah, great. That's a great observation. At the end of last week, we had an issue with data being passed into our housing system. And so we got that resolved yesterday. I think we should see I think you'll want to give us a try around like 10, 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. And we are hoping that we should have just about everybody back into the system by then. There was some information that wasn't passed over to housing. So you're in our system, you could log in, but it won't let you go through the application because we don't have all the information that's needed for you to complete that successfully. So once we're hoping that should be resolved with our data load tonight, and then we're going to review it first thing in the morning, and we should be able, I would imagine that we'll see it go through tomorrow. So stay tuned. I updated the login page on the housing portal with information related to that. So basically, for folks at SIR, probably like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of last week, probably it may affect you. And if you can't get in after tomorrow, you can drop us an email and we'll continue to work on cases where they're isolated, but I'm expecting that issue to be largely resolved by tomorrow.
Great, thank you so much for that update. The next question, if you are playing a sport, when will that student be allowed to move in? Do they have a different move-in date?
Yes, athletes typically work, I mean, depending on if they're going to live on campus. So I want to be clear, like athletes don't always have to live on campus. I mean, living on campus is optional. If you decide you want to live on campus and you're working with athletics, typically you'll move in early August. Then athletics usually lives together in a designated building, and they will work with us to provide us. They usually would do an initial assignment of you, typically with other folks who are participating in your sport, right? So typically we'll put like men's basketball with other men's basketball player and cross country with cross country, largely because they found over years that it helps with the practice schedule. So like cross country's got to be up running first thing in the morning, which makes it difficult if you've got roommates that are sleeping late. And so that's the reason. It's not a requirement necessarily that you like live and stay in that area if that's where you want to be, but it's athletics will work and start with you on that. And August 1 is usually when they start welcoming fall athletes. So it's not necessarily all athletes, but predominantly those that start and that have summer and fall starts.
Very good. And now we'll hop over to dining for the next question. Someone is asking, how do I get meal plans if I'm off campus?
Thank you, Ricky. Absolutely. If you go on our dining website, we're offering a commuter meal plan, which allows you to choose different meal plan options. Some of them are for smaller chunks and some of them are for larger chunks. Depends upon how many times you come to the campus. You can definitely choose per your discretion which one would you like to have.
Very good. Thank you so much for that. All right, the next question. If we sign the contract for housing, but later we get accepted off of a wait list to another school, can we get out of the housing contract?
Yes, you can. You can cancel your housing contract to June 1st with no penalty. You can cancel your housing contract between June 2nd and really the start of the term for a $300 penalty. Once you take the key, then essentially it's like signing the lease. So if you show up, move in, then decide you live in another university, that it can be more expensive, but as long as you cancel before June 1st, there is no penalty.
Very good.
And just quickly, you cancel through the housing portal as well. So along the top, there is a tab and there's a part where you apply. So you saw the 22-23 application link, but a few links over to the right is the cancellations. So you can submit that cancellation. Now, if you cancel and then need housing again later, it's after the priority deadlines, then you would lose the priority that you would have for first year. So just, be mindful about when you make the decision. Once you decided, it's kind of hard to come back.
Great, thank you for that. So the next question's coming in. I was told by financial aid that Regent scholars are put together in housing, and they're asking if that is a true statement, and also what does that look like?
Regent scholars are guaranteed housing, but I typically don't assign them together. So there's not like a Regent Scholar LLC, if that's the basis of the question. So Regent scholars are guaranteed housing, but they generally are assigned housing just like every other student. You get your roommates and assign and work along through that. So there's no dedicated living and learning areas for Regent scholars at this time.
Perfect. And talking about LLC housing, where is the link or what is the process to actually apply for that?
Yeah, so so there's kind of two pieces, right? So if you're looking to apply to be in an LLC, that is done in the housing application. So you first have to SIR. We've been talking a lot about applications, and one thing I just have to remind this group is that you have to SIR first, and then usually between 24 and 48 hours after that, then you can access the housing portal and submit the housing application. You can find the housing portal on our housing website. It's a housing.ucmerced.edu. Up at the far right, there's a section that says housing portal. It's right on our static links. It's always there in the same spot. You can click on that. That will take you in. When you're submitting the housing application, there's a section that asks, do you want to participate in LLC? If you click that, it will take you to a menu where you can preference up to 2 LLCs. I would generally speaking, you will have your best chance at getting the LLC you preference as number 1. It's pretty rare that we go down to number 2s. There's a lot of demand for LLCs, so we generally fill the LLCs with first preferences. Not all. So yes, that's how you would apply. So you go. It's contained in the housing application. You make your preferences for the LLCs. I talked a little bit about the process by which that's done. And we pass those preferences on to the programs, and the programs select their LLC participants from students who have preferenced their LLCs.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Now I am looking and seeing kind of a trend in some of these incoming questions. So I will just kind of generalize this one. It has to do with accommodations. So there's several coming in related to either mental health or medical reasons or other reasons that people feel that they have accommodations and that they may want to have a single room. I can go ahead and drop that link into the chat that you mentioned earlier in the presentation. But Scott, is there anything else that you'd like to mention regarding housing accommodations?
Yeah, I mean, we're happy to offer single rooms to those students with accommodations, but we also hold most of our single rooms for students with accommodations. So it's very rare that an incoming first year would be assigned a single room without a corresponding accommodation that documents the need. So that's the first thing, and that those needs, like, you don't have to petition me about that need. That's really Student Accessibility Services. They're the ones that will work through you. With you, and they'll review your documentation and establish the need for a single room. And it's not just single rooms, there can be other modifications. So sometimes, students are maybe you're just really anxious about being assigned a triple or a quad. If you have documentation that supports that a lower occupancy room, like a double, is better for you, that is a kind of accommodation that we've worked with before. And there are others that we've done. Sometimes we do handheld showers. Sometimes there are some spaces that have private bathrooms. So there are just different elements of the accommodation that Student Accessibility Services understands and can help navigate you through that process with them, and then they communicate the documentation, the things, the need to housing, so that you don't have to continue to share all your personal information with multiple offices.
Perfect. Now, this next question is also related to housing. Seems like that's our popular topic tonight. So they're asking if the quad style rooms, if they're actually larger than the triple rooms, and that they were here over the weekend at Bobcat Day. So we're so happy that you were able to attend, but they are wondering if the quad would be bigger, that they saw a triple and they just could not possibly imagine how another bed or another person could be there.
Yeah, the quad rooms are bigger. Yeah, particularly in Half Dome, they're substantially larger. But on South Side too, those rooms are proportionally bigger to handle the extra room or the extra bed. So yes, they are bigger.
Perfect. And then speaking of the beds in the dorms, do we have a specific length or width of what those are? We have someone asking what the size would be, if there's a certain maximum for height or weight on those.
Dimensions, I believe, are on our website. I don't have the exact dimensions on me, but the mattress size is a twin extra long. So I'm 6'5" and I fit comfortably on that mattress in terms of length. If you're taller than that, we can work. So I met a student at Bobcat Day that is 6'10". So we're going to be working with him to get him a different bed frame. So, but we can work with those cases. We do have extra long mattresses and frames if folks are particularly tall, but our bed mattress sizes are all twin extra longs. When you buy sheets or you're looking at sizing, that's the sizing you're going to look for.
Perfect. And then what is the process for roommate selection?
Yes, in late June, early July, we'll, in the same place that you applied, we're going to send out an email notice to everybody that has a signed housing contract, and we're going to let you know that the roommate portal is open, and you'll be able to go in at that time, and then you'll form what are called roommate groups. So one of you kind of has to take the initiative with your group, right? So you'll have people that you've met that you want to work with, and one of you chooses to be like the organizer. You'll log into the portal in late June, and you'll form the roommate group. So you'll give your group a name, and new Bobcats 2022, and then you'll invite everyone to come join that group, and it's all done through the housing portal. So you'll get their name and email. You'll invite them to join that group. Once you've got everybody in the group, you'll click verify the group, and then that kind of locks the group in place. And then when we do room assignments, we look at those locked groups, those set groups that everyone's agreed to join, and then we assign those groups together. So typically, you're allowed that we leave that process open usually for mid to late June, and then you can choose your roommates through that whole time. And it's really it's a pretty flexible process. So if you start inviting people or you change your mind, you can add or leave roommate groups. You can change that process around until the deadline, which is usually in early July. Once we shut it down, once we shut down changes to that, we'll only pull verified groups. These are groups that where everyone has said, I agree, I want to be a part of this group, I've accepted it, and we will, and we'll take those, we'll use those groups those are the groups that get placed together. I saw a question in there about gender too, a couple questions about gender and roommates. Is it all right if I address that now?
Of course.
Yeah, so we also, for roommate groups, we use the gender identity marker that's in our student, that you gave us when you applied. Currently for UC Merced, there are 3 gender identity markers. There's male gender identity, female gender identity, and non-binary gender identity, non-binary unspecified. So like those are 3 categories, and we generally will assign roommate groups to only where those gender identity markers match. The exception to that is if students in your application, there's a checkbox, you can say that you want to live in gender inclusive housing. And what that does is it allows you'll actually be participating in a slightly different roommate group pool, where it will allow you to form roommate groups with folks who are also participating in gender inclusive housing. Those roommate groups will be assigned into rooms that don't have any gender identity marker restrictions. So there's information in the application about participating in gender inclusive housing. It's not really designed, I just want to let the group know, it's not really designed for co-ed housing. One of the things, and there's a lot of detailed information in the housing application about that. If you read that and that applies to you, go ahead and choose that, and you'll be, and if you think that's a good fit for you, you can participate in that program. Otherwise, for students that don't check that box, you'll be assigned exclusively with other folks that match identically on your gender identity marker. Now you can change if you look at, because on that page in the housing application, we'll display what we have down, like what the system has passed us as your gender identity marker. There are also instructions there if you feel like that's inaccurate or needs to be updated.
Great. Thank you so much, Scott, for that information. We are getting closer to the wrap-up time of our broadcast tonight, so I'm going to try and just jump through some of these other questions. A couple of questions coming in about financial aid, and the question is, will financial aid cover the housing expenses?
Do I get to answer that one too?
Go for it.
I'm not sure how else to the call, so I don't want to steal anybody's thunder. This might be a great admissions question. I can just say what I said in the slide earlier. Aid is based on cost of attendance and living on campus. Like the cost of campus living, all really is priced by location, and you can't get a location for UC Merced than on campus. And so the cost of attendance typically is higher for those students who have on-campus housing. And so the aid to follow that proportionally. Now, every student's package is different. So again, that's why we provide those links for you and encourage you to go check out how it might affect you specifically if you live on or choose to live off campus. how that might affect your aid package.
Thank you so much,
I
Scott.
don't know
I'm going to
if
go
that
ahead
answers the
and
question.
I think that you did. Yeah, great job. And I'm going to go ahead and just drop the general financial aid link into that chat box. Now, there is quite a bit of information available on that page, so we can also drop into the chat the contact information and website for the Students First Center. If you haven't yet experienced a phone call or in person, or maybe Bobcat Day, you were able to SIR or meet some folks in the SFC, they are the one stop on campus that handle a lot of things ranging from financial aid, admissions questions, registrar questions, as well as a lot of billing information. So it's a great number and website for you to keep handy. We'll make sure we drop that in just a moment for you. And let me go ahead and take a look here, see what other questions we haven't gotten to. So many good ones coming in. All right, let's see. Oh, do we have any updates on vaccination information? Are we requiring students in the fall to be vaccinated?
If you want to live on campus, yes. And I believe all UC Merced faculty, staff, and students have to follow the university guidelines on reporting vaccination status. If you live on campus, you need to be vaccinated.
Very good. And then where do the Fiat Lux students reside? Are they all together in one LLC?
Yes, you live together in Tenaya Hall.
Perfect. That was a quick answer. All right, let's see what else we have coming in here.
I saw a couple about the PIN number. Maybe it looks like we got added a couple times, but if you are under the age of 18 and you're completing the application, you will be asked to have a proxy sign that housing application. And you fill out some information when you name your proxy, and that includes a PIN. It's just a PIN you make up. So you give a PIN number. That way you give it to whatever parent or guardian or whoever is legally able to sign, if you're under the age of 18, whoever is empowered to sign on your behalf, you give information to them. Now, we pass it through email and other things too, but that's a number you make up. It's not a secret PIN number we haven't told you yet. You just create it, and then I also share that because if you're under 18, if you're looking at the timeline, you're like, okay, I'm gonna just kind of apply like, real quick here at the end. You want to give your proxy some time to sign, right? Because oftentimes that you can submit, you'll submit your application. We'll make you a housing offer. It's the signing the contract part, the second part that you might want to leave a day or two in advance for your proxy, just in case some weird thing like they don't get the email or they have to work a lot and they just don't see it or something to that effect. Like, be kind to your proxy.
Very good. Thank you so much for that. And I do think we are rounding out most of these questions here. There's one more. Is there a specific timeline from the point when a student SIRs and then they do their housing application? Is there something else that they need to do after that? They'll be contacted by housing. Do they need to respond after that so that they don't lose out on something?
Yeah, just to address, what I heard in the question was after we SIR and complete the housing application, it's a two-step process. So if you'll SIR, you'll submit the housing application, and once that's done, then we will offer you housing, as long as you've done it by the timeline. So most of you, if you're going through turning in applications, you're going to see that you're going to be offered housing. If you're not sure, if you've already taken some action, if you log into the housing portal and view your 2022-2023 application, it will tell you right at the top of the status page. When you click on that year, when you click on 2022, 2023, that application status will tell you what status it is right at the top. Submitted, offered housing, and your application, once it's in offered housing, that there's a link, one or two boxes below it that says you need to sign this contract, and it's got a big red bar on the side of it. Then that means you need to sign that housing. Once you've signed that contract and your application status says contract signed, as long as you've done that before 11:59 p.m. on May 9th, you are guaranteed housing. After that point, the only thing you have left to do is to, if you need to or want to, is to pick a roommate or participate in a roommate group selection in late June. But you don't even have to do that. We'll assign your roommates based on the information you submitted in the application. We'll try to find the best fit roommate. So there's really not anything you have to do after you sign your contract. They're just optional things if you want, like a roommate group or other other things. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Scott. And thank you to all of our presenters. This is a great opportunity with this current slide that's up. If we can leave this up for just a moment, if our audience would like to grab your smartphone or do a quick screenshot, this would be great information for you to hang on to for future reference. And also, we have been dropping several links throughout this presentation, so you can hop over to the chat box and scroll up and down there and click on anything that you may not have done so yet. So that way you can reference those later on. Now, I did mention the Students First Center is our one-stop shop on campus. I'm going to go ahead and drop that information into the chat box as well, their email address, phone number, and website. There is a link on that site for Contact Us, and they have several different methods that you can reach out to them as well as on campus. All right, so as we do wrap up, again, a big thank you to all of our presenters tonight, everyone that was representing us behind the scenes, chatting and answering those questions there. Quick reminder that this event has been recorded and it will be available in just a couple of days on the Become a Bobcat, a virtual series website. So go ahead and take a look there. We will get that dropped into the chat box for you as well. Lots of links for you tonight. And also we do have another event coming up Thursday of this week related to student involvement. On that BAB website, you can go ahead and take a look there and get yourself registered. And like I said, other events have been recorded and you can click on those links for instant replays. One more thing I'd like to remind everyone of is the SIR deadline. That is the statement of intent to register. That is when you get to commit to UC Merced. So we're so excited that so many people came out to Bobcat Day. So many more statement of intent to registers or SIRs came in that day. We are just growing our Bobcat family left and right. So we hope that you do the same and that you do join our family by going onto the website and getting yourself committed through your SIR by the deadline of May 1st. You also have a checklist there. You can take a look at other deadlines that may be approaching that will impact you as well. We also have campus tours available to everyone. If you didn't make it to Bobcat Day and get a tour on that day, we do have a website where you can get signed up for a tour on a different day. We do have those being offered multiple days a week, and you can get a sneak peek into our beautiful campus, all the high-tech buildings, the green spaces that we offer, the residence halls, everything that you would like to see before you move to our beautiful campus. Once again, this has been so much fun having you here tonight. We do have one more event this week, so we hope to see you back with that one again. And just keep a lookout for more upcoming exciting dates and deadlines and future virtual events, as well as those in person. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Have a wonderful night.